Good morning and welcome. This morning, it's VOP This Morning. My name is Moses Humphrey, and joining me later on the show is Esther Onwachuku. Our two stories in focus today are those of the President-elect and Vice President-elect's investiture with the highest honors in the land. That's Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the one for the Vice President-elect, Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. High honors indeed. Plus, we'll look at the insistence by Nigeria's Minister of Aviation that Nigeria Air will take off before May 29. Well, sure you'd like to be part of everything we do here on VOP TV by liking and subscribing to our pages on YouTube. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV. And on other social media platforms, VOP TV Live. President-elect Bola Tinubu has said that he would not disappoint Nigerians who voted for him, as well as outgoing President Muhammadu Buhari, who supported his candidacy. Well, Mr. Tinubu said this in Abuja at a ceremony where he was honored with Nigeria's highest honor, the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that's GCFR. Now, to quote him directly, he says, I must run this race and must do it well. On security, the economy, agriculture, jobs, education, health and power, and in all other sectors, we must make headway. The people deserve no less. In this, I shall disappoint neither them nor you, Mr. President. End quote. Mr. Tinubu's Vice President-elect, Shettima, also received the second highest national honor of the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, GCON. But Thursday's investiture came against the backdrop of an expected Supreme Court judgment on Friday that is today to determine whether Vice President-elect Shettima was doubly nominated as running mate to the President-elect, while he had already secured and was retaining nomination as a senatorial candidate of his party. Well, it's D-Day today at the Supreme Court, and Nigerians are certainly waiting with bated breath to hear what the Supreme Court says. We are being joined by Sheye Oyetade, public affairs commentator, and also Victor Atewe, who is also a public affairs commentator. But I'm being informed that we have Victor Atewe with us online right now, or if we have both of them. Good morning to you, Victor.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us this morning. Now,
Thanks for having me.
good. Now, the president-elect statement. I will not. Well, he did state a few things there. He mentioned security. He mentioned, he stated a few things when he spoke. He mentioned education. He mentioned creation of jobs, and we know that it's a transition within the same party. Really, is this the statement that okay, these things must be better? Nigeria must move forward because Nigerians deserve nothing less. Can we say these are pointers to him agreeing to the fact that his predecessor, if he assumes office, when he assumes office, did not perform as well as the predecessor might have thought that he did?
Okay. First of all, giving to the statement of the president-elect when he said yesterday that, of course, Nigerians should, he won't disappoint Nigerians, and he would make sure that, people, he will try to live beyond the expectations of Nigeria in terms of making sure that we have good governance and whatnot. Now, the truth is, given to the current economic indices, it shows that Nigeria is worse off than it were, when this administration took over. But yes, the administration would say that they've given their best. They've done what they think is right, and they've of course to them they're leaving a good legacy. But I wonder what kind of legacy you're leaving when your unemployment rate is about 40%, and your debt ratio it's something that I wouldn't want to say because I'm not proud of. So, but of course, given to the word of Mr. Tinubu, well, one would hope and pray that as it stands now, we can but hope for the best and hope that he gets it right. But with the whole economic indices, we're wondering the magic is going to perform. But we can only pray for the supernatural to happen.
All right. Now, let's look at one of the things that the president-elect will be inheriting: debts. He'll be inheriting debts, a lot of it. All right. I'm going to point to one: accumulated debts that from loans taken from China, which we know is come up to about 110.3 billion naira accumulated debts accumulated in the last 2 years. How well do you think? I mean, he's been credited to be a good politician, a good administrator. Everyone has said from the way he handled Lagos and all of that. How well do you think he will be able to deal with the debt profile of Nigeria when he assumes office?
Okay, first off is one would hope that as they attribute to him that as a team player is going to bring up the best brains to see how they can salvage the situation as regards our debts. And of course, do not forget that for every debt we service with almost 120%, if I'm right. So, but of course, I really don't know that the magic is going to pull. But of course, Nigerians would ultimately bear the brunt. But like they said, that first of all, for the next administration to survive and of course function well, first of all, they need to see how they can remove the subsidy but in badges, because Nigerians are going to feel the brunt. And like the outgoing president said, do not come knocking on my door, because he knows what is at stake, for Nigerians, and of course its economy. So it's a world full of uncertainty. That's it, in the political space full of uncertainty. But one would like this. They said that Mr. Tinubu is a man that is known to be a good team player. Is going to pick up the best brain to see how we can internally generate revenue, and of course to service our debt, and of course help develop our economy. So, but we hope that that comes to bear, and every appointment will be on merit, not basically on political affiliation, or like the word says, I'm deserving of it. Imiloko in Yoruba Palace.
We do know that the debts that have been incurred so far is almost about 77 trillion naira, and possibly more that maybe has not been made public. What are the realities in place that within the next 6 months or possibly 1 year, that the vital sectors that makes Nigeria's economy flow or grow, he would have been able to implement some stop gaps to curtail the porosities that Nigerians witnessed with this administration that will definitely be dissolving in the next couple of days?
Thank you very much. And then once again, thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.
Well, it's daunting, and if you look the proceedings here when the investigation was being done, where it was conferred as GCFR, he made mention of the fact that the task before him as president of Nigeria is Herculean. It's actually daunting. He needs to hit the ground running, and I would like to say flying, and not just running. The documents that were given to him has everything in it, the assets as well as the liabilities that he's inheriting from the outgoing government. But you see, I've always said this, that to define the future, you need to insist. But I think it's used to challenges of this nature. And history has it that when he took up the responsibility of leading Lagos many years ago, he met Lagos with an idea of 600 billion. But what was the science, the political science that went into the re-engineering of Lagos? All he did was to set up a transition team. He engaged the best of minds. And I strongly believe that there is no problem on earth that does not have a solution. The problem is that we have not thought deep enough, we have not thought true enough to be able to surmount the challenges in front of us. Before now, unknown to many Nigerians, about a month ago, he set up various technical committees that work behind the scene. Documents have been prepared, the best of brains have been engaged. They never came out in the open to say we are doing this, we are doing that. And that was exactly what he did in 1999 when he became governor of Lagos State. He set up what is called a transition working group that had the chairmanship of Professor Liquid Kuti, and that was broken down into subcommittees on transportation, on healthcare delivery, so many committees that touched on the life of Lagos State as a state. And exactly the same thing, that's the same approach he has applied at this point in time. And I want to put it to you, we are owing, to the best of my knowledge, 7 trillion naira. That is an amount that can be written off in a year through just setting up proper architecture around digital economy, creative economy.
All right, Shaya, here is a scenario, right? When President Muhammadu Buhari was coming in 2015, we do know that Nigerians were going through a dire circumstance with insecurity, you know, and then of course at the time Nigerians needed that lint, a little lint of hope in the dark world, or seemed to be like in the dark corner. And when he came, insecurity was one of the prospects which he said that he was going to tackle when he comes into power. Job employment, that is employment opportunities, especially for Nigerian youth, about giving 10 million jobs. In fact, that was basically what he said. He was specific with that number. And then, of course, he said that the economy, in as much as it seems so bad, we're going to stop importation that had to do more with homegrown products, encouraging more of manufacturing, more of entrepreneurship. Now, that, of course, gave Nigerians the hope and the purview that something better will be from 2015 up until now. Well, for the first 4 years, we did not see a spike in most of the promises that was made. The second 4 years, too, it seemed that things got worse. Now, the president-elect coming in within the same All Progressives Congress is also making these promises. Again, I ask you, how would Nigerians trust when these words are being said? Yesterday, when he was being conferred, these were basically the things he said: running the race, having to work more on insecurity, resuscitating the economy, providing job opportunities, making sure that the agricultural sector becomes revitalized, and of course, we now have more health facilities or more health infrastructure. It's beyond words. The president-elect knows that this is beyond words. How would Nigerians trust that he will be able to do this? Because there's a serious doubt on the All Progressives Congress.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a very sincere question and requires a sincere answer. There are two personalities you are talking about here. And if we be honest with ourselves, Bola Tinubu is a strong personality, and he does not believe in the strength of his personality. He believes in the strength of setting up institutions around himself. He said it many times. People jeered at him, they abused him when he went to the Chatham House. He said, I believe in teamship. That word, teamship. Unfortunately, in 2015, we believed in a strong man. And we have seen the best of that strong man has not been able to deliver on any promise. But we are coming into an administration, the incoming administration believes in the strength of strong men that have been made or transformed into institutions, who are builders of institutions. You will see the difference, because Bola Tinubu will strengthen the institution. He will not direct hope, the hope of Nigerians. It will not be directed by him. He will just be an administrator who will oversee the strengthening of institutions. I think that's exactly how we deal with our problems. Men, we have actually called for strong men to help us, but at this point in time, that has failed us.
All right, interesting analogy there, I must say, Sheye. Let's just stay with Sheye on this one. Interesting analogy. A strong man came into power, and then he's leaving, and then one who believes in men, coming in. But let's look at a statement from the Cattle Rearers Association. They did say that the strongman. President Buhari disappointed them. He didn't, put their interest forward, and now they are showing support for the incoming president, saying that they hope that he will, work better with them, and they will have a better understanding. Now, if a strongman, and we know what happened. I mean, we know what's been happening in the area of insecurity between herders and farmers, and that has gone on for a long time indeed. Now, do you see a situation? I mean, you are one who is close to the president-elect. I would say you can perceive his perfume well enough, better than some of us. What would you say his plans are to tackle insecurity and the ongoing feud between cattle rearers and farmers that has persisted for a long time?
Thank you very much. Well, I need to put on record that this is the first time you're having a seasoned politician occupy that position.
Shara, please hold on. Can you adjust your camera a little bit, because your cap seems to be cut off?
Am I okay?
Yes, you're okay now. Thank you.
Oh, all right. I said we need to put this on the register that this is the first time Nigeria is going to be having a seasoned politician occupy that position of president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. This is the very first time. And when I say politician, I'm talking about a man who knows how to dialogue, a man who knows how to go into the business of give and take. Good conversation, robust conversation around our security challenges when it comes to men versus men. The earthmen are human beings that can be discussed with. They can be called into a meeting. There can be give and take. And then Bola Tinubu has said over and over again, especially during the electioneering, that the days of traditional farming, traditional way of doing things are over. Let us go outside and see how other nations, other developing nations go about cattle rearing and all kinds of things. And these are the things that is bringing on the saddle in terms of making sure that we engage in best practices as you find around the world, cattle ranching, all kinds of things. So a committee has already been set up to deal with that. And when it comes to our security, I cannot divulge quite a lot of information here, but you will find great countries coming in to assist us with technology to be able to deal with our security challenges. Today, satellites are hung up in there in the space to deal with security problems. And there are so many people talking to Nigeria at this point in time, especially at the security level, cyber security, most especially to be able to deal with some of our challenges. I believe that insecurity will be a thing of the past in another 1-2 years from now.
Share, hold on that thought. President Muhammadu Buhari said that in his administration, that is for 2023 alone, the military acquired about 700 brand new troop-carrying vehicles, all assembled in Nigeria. In addition, it stated that 20,000 new police officers were recruited in 2 tranches of 10,000. He also talked about, hey, these are basically the armaments for having to fortify the Nigerian security, that is the Navy and of course the military as well as the Air Force. He also talked about the fact that they got minesweepers, battle tanks, armored fighting vehicles, mountain climber banks, infantry fighting vehicles, light tanks and several others. Yet, insecurity seems to be digging a hole deeper in Nigeria. It's so worse right now that it feels like most of this armament, most of this, would you call it security infrastructure to enable the Nigerian military fight headers or fight terrorists. It seems almost like most of these equipments are monies but paid for that is laying fallow. With all this on ground, with the high technicality on ground to curtail and fight insecurity, the president-elect is coming. Again, I ask you, because that's one of the things that is plaguing the nation at the moment and is directly affecting our economy, affecting forex too. Do you think that the president-elect will be able to create a different strategy from what President Muhammadu Buhari did and completely nip insecurity in the bud, whereby there will be no politicizing?
I believe so. I believe we are going to have a different experience. I'm not
Okay.
a security person, but the little I know about the formation of a particular committee around dealing with the situation around our insecurity, I believe they are looking at the best option on ground, especially with the use of technology. The Buhari administration did its best, but the best of that administration was not just good enough. But this time around, with the men that are thinking, with the men in the think tank around our security issues, I strongly believe. And then watch out for who becomes the NSA. And then the approach of the NSA, especially as the National Security Advisor's office, let's watch the approach of this man in the next, as soon as he comes into office, within 3 months. We are going to see a drastic a departure from what is now in terms of facing and trying to overcome the challenges around our insecurity.
So
that much I can say because I am not a security person. But I know that the use of technology
Do you have a
play a huge role.
Do you have an inkling as to who the NSA will be? Do you know? Can you tell us?
I don't.
Okay.
All right, Victor,
All right.
this next question is for you. I'm
Because
sorry.
sincerity, I don't.
Victor, I want to talk about unemployment, especially for the Nigerian youth. The labor market seems to be saturated with a lot of unemployed young persons, although tech seems to be a vital, thriving market where a lot of unemployed persons try to learn it, enter into that particular sector and thrive. But there is still a lot that needs to be done. Do we think that the president-elect, based on all that was said while he was campaigning with his manifesto, Renewed Hope, that he would be able to deliver in that aspect, considering when he was the governor of Lagos State and how we had a lot of young persons, well, let's not generalize in that aspect, but based on what he did in Lagos, do you think that that can be replicated being at the federal level in terms of unemployment?
Okay, thank you for that question. One thing we fail to understand as a people is that what's it called now? The achievements accredited to now our president-elect when he was a governor. He was far younger, but now he is he's an older person now. And I want to take it from what Mr. Shea said. Now he's going to build up, the right team, meaning the right institution, no longer a strong man. That's if that comes to bear, wonderful. Now you recall that all our current unemployment rate is about 40%, if not more. So one thing is tech is the way to go. He has to invest critically into the digital economy. We can't continue to do things the way it is done now and expect a different result. No, we have to break out from the norm. Now, if you look at other developing countries, you see they invest so much in their tech, in their younger generation. Now, this is one thing I say, and I hope that it would do is to depart from the current administration to say some key positions have to be given to not just professionals, but experts who can deliver. We need to build institutions where people who are given a job to do get to do it and not giving excuses to say that, I think they've done their best, and you can, in the real sense, that best is not good enough. So given to the unemployment rate, I really hope that this administration would invest more, one, in technology, agriculture majorly to help boost to help get people out of the labor market and of course get them gainfully employed. So I want to say that Nigerians are watching. We are earnestly watching, and trust me, the first 3 months is much. For the first one, from the day it's been sworn in, Nigerians are trying to see its inauguration speech and how it intends to address critical, economic issue affecting us as a country, and how we hope that this would not be an excuse-based administration where they come out to say, the old administration left about seven 70 trillion naira, in debt, and so therefore we are paying, so we can't deliver on this and this promise. We hope that with Nigeria is going to get the best, and not administration that keep blaming the other administrations for its default and of course its failures.
Now,
okay.
I was picking on something earlier. You said when the president-elect administered Lagos, he was a much more younger person, and you attributed that to the achievements that he had. I was just thinking, if he's older now, doesn't wisdom come with age? Don't you think he will do a whole lot more because he's more advanced in age?
Oh, of course, yeah. One would expect that should be what should play out in its real sense. But my fear would be, like Mr. Sher, once said, that is a seasoned politician. But Nigeria, as it stands now, we need people who can deliver, not people who can lobby. Not people who feel, okay, I've done this for you, it's time for you to do this for me. Not people who have that entitlement mindset. So if that can be taken out of the way and say, you know what, I need technocrat, I need experts, I need people who can take responsibility and run with my vision, that I think will be able to have at least a seeming hope to say, okay, yes, we're driving at something. But, given to his age and all, Nigeria is a complex state. Nigeria is not Lagos. That's one thing we must understand. There is a lot of complexity affecting us as a people. We have, like you said, level of insecurity. So there are multidimensional issues that he needs to address. But of course, I really hope that his wisdom will come to bear, to the right people, in the right affairs when it comes to our economy and, of course, national development.
Okay.
But we hope for the miracle. That's the what I can say. We hope for the miracle to happen. And Nigeria should just brace up for any uncertainty. Trust me, anything from APC, one can just only hope that it gets better.
All right, then. Mr. Shea, you want to respond, or should I just go ahead?
Yeah, I can easily respond to that.
Go ahead, please.
Maybe why I'm optimistic is because I see things, I see the situation firsthand.
Okay.
Take it to the bank that there will be no one in Bola Tinubu's cabinet that does not know the what do you call it now, that the stakes are high, the expectations are high, and Bola Tinubu is one person can call in the absence of a better word, I can call a slim driver.
Pardon?
Drive you, he will put pressure on you to perform as a minister.
I didn't get the word you used.
As an head of parastatal.
I didn't get the word you used, please.
I said in the absence of a better word.
Okay.
I said in the absence of a better word, Bola Tinubu is a slave driver. He will put pressure on you to perform. Okay. And that is visible in the way he goes about his private duties, especially with his aides. He walks them far into the night, and you must actually be able to perform, must be able to deliver. Once you don't deliver, he replaces you. He doesn't send you away, he deploys you away from his presence. And that's the same approach he's bringing into governance. And one thing you must take to the bank again is the fact that private sector practice, private sector thinking is coming into our public service gradually.
All right then. Now let me. All right. Thank you very much for that response. Let me.
He's a new man.
Okay.
And again, I wanted to say something, please.
Go ahead.
Again, I wanted to say, you see, when we talk about our economic challenges, I don't see them as daunting. The profit of companies like Apple, as of last year, was $170 billion. Now, blockchain technology alone, the fact that we have about 200 million population, many blue chip companies, many investors are looking the way of Nigeria. They've only been, all that has been stopping them is the absence of a right leadership as far as they are concerned. I can say, for the record, I can place on the register, there are so many people, or I'm talking about investors, so many companies within the Commonwealth that are very much interested in coming to Nigeria in the first month of this admission. I've had to engage with some of them in my recent trip to the UK. Okay. They are looking in the way of Nigeria and they are coming with age in order to trade with us, especially in the area of blockchain technology. That area, that sector, can pay off if you know what we are doing.
All right then.
And watch out who heads NITDA, watch out for who heads communication and digital economy.
Okay, we will be on the lookout actually. Yes. Yes, so Nigeria will be on the lookout indeed. Now let me come to you, Victor. Picking on the statements that the president-elect made, one of the statements that he made when he gave his speech, he said, I'm going to quote him now. He said, expect not, and that was, responding to the president saying that, okay, he was going to retire to either Daura or Niger Republic. The president-elect said, expect knocks on your door, whether you go to Daura or Niger Republic or wherever. And then he added, I am a simple man who is the beneficiary of the support and goodwill of the people of Nigeria. The people have put their trust in us. You have done your part, Mr. President. Now that great duty descends on me. I understand the meaning of the honor given to me today and of the task that awaits. I must run this race and must do it well. And then he, and then talked about security, economy, agriculture, and other things. And we cannot turn a blind eye to the fact that insecurity, hasn't been, security hasn't been its best in Nigeria. We've had quite a go with insecurity. And we also have had quite a go with loans, monies being used, and then for things that Nigerians cannot even explain. How do you interpret the knock on the doors of the outgoing president? Do you interpret it as going to seek advice, or do you interpret it as when push comes to shove, we will come and ask you, Benny, what did you use these monies for? How do you interpret that? Because it could be. Go ahead, please.
Okay. In a simple term, I'm going to interpret that to say that, listen, there'll be a lot of knock at on the door of the outgoing president. The reason being that there are a lot of debt being plunged in. Yes, and of course, there will be a lot of questions being asked. Even to the end of this administration, you hear of governors taking loans, governors signing out contracts at days, just 2 days or 3 days to hand it over. So there's going to be a whole lot of knock when it comes to things to be answered that I foresee coming. Well, like you said, wherever the outgoing president might want to be, either Daura or in Niger, of course, there will be a lot of either success story or otherwise attributed to his administration. And I hope that the incoming administration won't keep referring to the previous administration as its cause for delivering on their promise. Yes, and also it's very important that we take note that one of the key sector that needs to handle is to keep Nigeria safe. Because if investors knows that the country is not safe, nobody want to come invest in such country, or the country full of uncertainty and all. So the insecurity is one sector that it needs to put the best of the best of the best grade and stop the politicking of people's life, and of course politicking of our security architecture. So it needs to come and, you know what, let's get this done and get it done once and for all.
All right,
that has to be a day one job.
Okay,
but of course, there's going to be a lot of knock in terms of
on the door.
You know, who takes what or who's not, who takes what and who doesn't. Who's to be blamed for this and who's not to be blamed for that. Okay, so I think that's what President Buhari is trying to say.
All right then, thank you very much. I would like to get Sheye's response to that as well. Your own interpretation of it. Is it different?
Yeah, it's different.
Okay.
You cannot wish away the experience of a former president. And I think he would just be calling on him for, what do you think about this? What do you think? Bola Tinubu is not a witch hunter. Regardless of what has been done with the past administration, it's not going to look into the past like others look into the past. Questioning, spending time chasing people around, chasing thieves around. Well, there is an institute that can handle that, but it's not going to busy himself with the whipstick or with the gun in his hand looking for who stole what. So that is the responsibility of EFCC. There are institutions that will deal with that. But when it comes to talking to former President Buhari, or almost becoming former President Buhari, in terms of what do you think about leveraging on your experience, and that's why the knock will be on his door, not for any other thing. And then of course, they've had good rapport as politicians in APC. He will surely leverage on his experience to do a few things.
So in essence, what you're saying,
like a man that knows it all, and not only President Buhari, he will be consulting
so in essence,
as they gather around meetings in the Council of States.
All right, and so in essence,
Buhari, he will maintain a rapport with him.
All right, so in essence, what you're saying is we should not expect him to fight corruption.
When presidents say, I will fight corruption, I laugh, because there are institutions that can fight corruption. There are enough codes in our law that can fight corruption. If you steal money, the law is there, and there are law enforcement agents that should go after you. So it's a lack of duty or not knowing what to do that makes you say, I'm going to fight corruption. That's my own personal opinion.
All right.
There are enough penal codes in our law that can fight corruption on its own.
All right then, thank you very much, gentlemen.
All right, thank you. Sir, do you have any closing words, Sher?
Thank you.
Oh yeah, for the young people, Bola Tinubu spent the night with the youngsters yesterday. He was there just to celebrate with them at the Abuja Stadium, the Abuja Stadium. The reason why he came, not many people know this, is because he believes they are the owners of today and they must be given a seat, a prominent seat in his administration. That was why he came to identify with them at a party last night. And they were all happy. And watch out for young people taking a great seat, especially to drive our country forward. He's not going to be making promises like Tinubu made promises. He's always a believer in the fact that we can help you to help yourself. And Nigerian youngsters should be looking at going for blue-collar jobs instead of looking for white-collar jobs.
All right, thank you, Shaya. Victor, you're still going to be with us.
Okay.
Yes, you're still with us, Victor. All right. So up next on VOP this morning, to fly or not to fly. Aviation Minister Hadi Sirika insists Nigeria's national career will be back in the air before May 29. But all does not seem to be well in the sector. We'll take a short breather, and when we return, definitely we're talking into that.